And Cheryl's joining via Zoom.
Yeah.
And I think John too.
Possibly. Hi, Kat.
Hey, Christine.
Well, hi,
How are you?
How are you doing? I am good, I think.
Good.
Do we have assigned seating?
No. We can if you guys want to, I suppose.
I would say none of us.
I'm
would
so
go
glad
for
I'm
that.
not in school anymore.
Yeah.
My friend's still in college and she's working on her master's, and every night I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. I'm not. I hosted a workshop this morning. It was supposed to be from like 8 to 9. It got out at 1.
And
Just ruined my whole day.
well, as the host, I think they should have let you know that.
You would think.
Hi.
Hello.
The hand on my face.
That's only on our side.
Oh, it's a permanent high.
Oh, this is interesting. This is the first time I've ever viewed the owl from outside the meeting.
I did the other day during the training and it was a little interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear.
Is it actually, so the two people that are most active are usually the ones that are in the squares, but it'll move to whoever's talking. But the ribbon across the top, it shows all of the chairs. So it shows Kat, Jennifer, empty chair in front of the door, empty chair, empty chair, empty chair, Christine. Oh,
Yeah, it's real weird to look at that as if it's in a
On
row
top, yeah.
instead of the circle.
Oh, I see it. That is weird.
yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah, it does a full 360
Yeah.
is the top camera, I think.
Yeah. So we still have a few minutes.
5.
Hello.
Hi, John.
So Lonnie's gonna be absent.
Yep.
And I need to leave early tonight.
Well, maybe we'll just get done early.
Okay.
The agenda looks pretty simple.
Yeah,
Kat to run the meeting. Who runs the meeting? Kat?
No.
With John's and
Oh.
he
Yeah, John can
there.
run it from there.
Okay,
Who-
okay.
Even if
Who's
he
in the-
doesn't have
Who's on the board? I can't see.
It's only Jennifer and Kat.
Okay. I don't have a printed out agenda and I don't want to have to go back and forth from screen to screen. So would one of you volunteer to run the meeting, please?
I think it goes to Kat.
Me too.
Secretary.
Sorry, Kat, you're the secretary.
I'm just stuck,
I
huh?
know.
Because Lonnie's not here. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, John, for this opportunity.
You can't be fallen once you hit our age, John.
What?
You don't bounce like kids.
Did he injure himself?
Yeah, you fell.
How bad are you?
It's just bruising and sore muscles.
Ew. Well, Mark's always a little late, so he'll probably be here. And then that's a quorum.
I said she would come in on Zoom. I don't know when though.
Well, we still have time.
And Mike said he'd be here, so.
Huh?
So it should be a forum.
Traffic was really busy for some reason, like super, super busy tonight in town.
Really?
So they could be in traffic.
Yeah, we're gonna whip through this if I'm running the meeting. Oh, and the financial report. I didn't have it in my packet.
I just received it today.
Okay, I thought it was something
Emailed it
like
out,
that.
but it's in there.
Okay, I thought it was something like that. It was,
Yeah, there's sometimes where coordinating with Noonan Davidson, sometimes it takes a bit for them to catch up. And so she got it to me right before I emailed it back out. Hi, Mike.
Hey, look, there's a glitter attack there.
There was.
they got rowdy in here, it sounds like.
Just a Christmas tree.
Good, how are you?
Good.
Showed the face for a second on the Galaxy 10, but I don't know who that was.
It's Shelly.
Kat's leading the meeting tonight because Lonnie's out and John's on
Yeah, okay,
the meeting.
great.
It's going
Let's
to
give her a
go,
hard
it's
time.
gonna go really fast. It's gonna go really fast.
Sarah's online.
There's corn.
Mike will probably, or Mark, excuse me, will probably be here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Was that a yes for the library's coming or?
Cheryl, is Ron showing up?
Last I heard, yes. I confirmed with him yesterday. No, Friday.
How long is Ron's deal? Do you know?
Sure.
I do not know. So our discussion was whether or not to have the executive session on Zoom, and he had recommended that we not do that. So all I had done was let him know that you guys, the board, agreed to wait until next month. And he said, okay, but I don't think that meant okay that we didn't want him here.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Zoom,
Cheryl, didn't you
How-
say we were going
meeting
to
on Zoom.
likely have a special meeting at the end of this month?
Yes, once we have and that, I don't know if we should wait until the meeting starts to discuss this.
It's on the agenda, John. He
Okay,
doesn't have an agenda in front of him.
That's why I'm doing this.
We go ahead and call it orders.
Should be over.
All right, let's call this meeting to order.
Jennifer Bragg.
That's
John
Stone.
Tucker.
Sarah Thompson.
There's corn.
Okay, we have a quorum. I'm gonna stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mike, you can do it.
I pledge allegiance
Flag
of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move along to the consent agenda, and we get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, the consent agenda is approved.
A motion,
Motion.
or I mean, we need
Oh,
a vote.
we got a vote. Oh, this is the part where we do that thing. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, now the motion is
Approved
approved
unanimously.
unanimously, and we can move on. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Okay. Then we'll move on to new business. Discussion of posting of Zoom recordings. I vote yes.
No show.
Oh, okay.
So I did a little bit of research, and I actually asked all of the transit agencies that work with OTA what their take on it was, what they do as a district, and the reasons why. And so it was really interesting because some of them choose to not do their Zoom meetings on, to post the actual Zoom portion of it online. They just post the minutes because they feel that it would put them at risk with inappropriate things that get said or done in their meeting. And then others stated that that's exactly why they post the Zoom meetings, is because it puts everybody on Front Street, really, and it keeps people more ethical, is what they had found. So it's really a decision. The board could make a decision to post them online, and then we would have to create a policy that you would approve. And then once we have a policy that says that we post our meetings online, or we include that in the, hi Roy, if we include that in the bylaws, then that covers it. So we just need a decision from the board and to either include it in the bylaws or make a policy regarding that, and then move forward from there.
Can I make a motion that we post the Zoom meeting?
I don't know if you chair, but typically the person that's chairing doesn't make a motion, but I would make a motion.
Thank
That we
you.
attach, that we go ahead and.
Teamwork.
Yeah. we can put the meeting online.
I second.
Okay, so it moves to a
So-
vote.
So now there's discussion.
Oh, discussion. Anybody want to discuss this?
I just went off.
Did you have a comment, John?
No, I don't, but while I'm talking, I'll ask that all non-board members on Zoom be muted.
You gotta mute.
Oh, that's so
Denise,
sweet.
yes, that's adorable.
Good to go.
You're good.
So now we take a vote.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 I came in the middle of it. I didn't hear what it was all about, so I.
Oh,
abstained.
it's about posting the Zoom meetings online.
I have no opinion because I didn't hear it.
Okay.
Okay,
So that's five or six, what are we, 1, 2, 5. My math was right the first time. 5 in favor and 1 abstention.
okay. 5 in favor and 1 abstention. We will post the Zoom meetings online.
Okay, so I will put together a policy or a change to the bylaws. Which do you prefer?
I think a policy is the easiest because you can change it in the future if you need to.
I agree.
Without having to redo the bylaws.
Yeah.
I'm with them.
Okay, good enough. We'll bring that back to you next time. Next regular board meeting.
And now we'll set a date for a special meeting. Is there discussion?
What is the special meeting for?
So we have the STIF application is due February 1st. We had our first meeting in December, and then the applications went out to providers, and the applications are due back on Friday. We are going to be having a stiff meeting to go over the applications and the projects and see how to best allocate that funding. And then once that allocation is complete, we could do it in one meeting. If we can't complete it in one meeting, we would have to schedule a second meeting later in the week. And then the following week, we would have to have the special board meeting to approve the recommended allocations from the stiff committee.
We do it like the fourth Monday? When do you have a recommended date?
Yeah.
Pardon?
You have a recommended date?
Do we have to do it on a Monday?
Oh, I actually did. Let me see if I can get to a calendar here. It would be like the 25th.
That's a Monday, but,
That
right?
is, yeah, that'd be.
Yeah,
Yep,
but it
or
can be
we
any
could
day
do a
of the
different
week.
day.
I'm good any day, so whatever. If you guys have a better day, that's fine with me.
I'm good any day that week too.
The 25th, I think, looks good. I don't know about for anyone else.
If there's another date after, is there another date after that? Like,
If we did
No.
Monday or Tuesday, that's optimal, simply because the application has to be in by the 1st. So,
Mondays are easier
I
for
like the
me.
way
I
it
have to
phrases
drive.
that to make sure that Christine Sepulveda is working.
Yeah, make sure it is connected to your.
She's taking notes and all. I think she's working.
yeah. Working properly.
So are we gonna go with the 25th?
Yeah, same time as, what are we,
5:30.
Yeah.
5:30?
Okay.
And we let the stiff stack, or at least the chair know.
She's there.
They'll hire the chair.
Is Roy the chair?
I don't know. But it's always nice to have at least the chair there. In case there's
No, she's gone.
comments or questions or something.
Do you do the minutes for that committee? Oh, bless your heart.
Who's the chair?
Shelley got nominated for chair.
Oh,
Shelley
okay,
Gurney.
okay.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Stiff stack recommendation to appoint applicants, Natasha.
Atkinson. So when we put out applications for the open positions, so far Natasha's is the only one that we've received, and she applied for the open provider position, and the stiff committee voted unanimously to move her forward for approval by the board.
Motion to appoint Natasha.
Second.
I don't think you can second, but I'll second it.
Oh. I don't get to do anything. All
Gotta
right.
get used to leadership.
Yeah.
Sarah has a
Warming
question.
up.
I just wanted to know how many positions are still open.
Oh, I will actually have to look that up. I don't have access to it right where I am. But there's
Send
like
an
5
email.
still open.
It's
Yeah.
also on the website.
Is there a motion?
There was
a
motion.
motion. There's a motion, and so now we're gonna vote, right? That's what comes next. Okay,
Well, there's motion, second, discussion, and then vote. So I think we had the discussion.
okay. We had
All in favor?
discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going to vote. Everybody in favor? Vote aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it passes. Then we have Title VI and ADA Policy Amendment Review.
This is a more of a housekeeping kind of a thing. It is the Title VI and ADA policy still say DCTD instead of UPTD. And so we just need to update that and get the correct one out there.
I'm making a motion to approve both of those policies.
Second.
Is,
I can't
Any
second it.
discussion?
Oh, any discussion?
yeah, Art, just a question. This form that's back here, is this then something that's only used by U-Trans, or is this also something that is used by the dial-a-ride providers as well?
Could be
Or did-
used by the dial-a-ride providers as well.
Fair enough, okay.
I've never seen it, but we
Although
made one.
most of the agencies probably have their own Title VI and ADA plans as well.
Okay, that's what I was guessing, but they could use this one, I guess, too, if they needed to, since they're under contract.
I'm gonna pull that out.
Have we finished with the session?
I'm
Okay.
done.
Everybody in favor, vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Measure passes, item passes. Okay. And we have
Old business?
old business,
Why did I put that under old business?
because it happened last month.
Probably.
What is
Um,
the UPTD medical transportation old business?
So we had previously discussed putting together a medical transportation program. And we got everything ready in November and we were able to kick that off in December. So we are now providing medical transportation rides, and that also creates some income for the district. And so we'll have more to come on that. We'll be able to show on a balance sheet, what that income looks like and the number of rides that we're providing and just all of that pertinent information.
So do we have volunteer drivers for that?
Yes. Yes.
How many?
I believe right now we have 4, but they might have put an additional one on since I left on vacation. So I think we might have 5 now.
Did we advertise for those?
Yes, there's a current listing on our website.
Really interesting. It happened
Yes.
so fast. And we don't have to make a motion or anything.
No,
Okay.
that's just for you to discuss and have information.
Do I need to make a motion to remove the board training since the lawyer didn't show up?
No, we can just skip it if he's not here.
Okay.
The, just back on the medical transportation, is this just local, or are we also taking them to like Eugene or Medford for treatments?
So the brokerage will send the rides to the various different providers. So then we divide those rides up between the drivers that we have. So it is possible that they could go as far north as Portland, south to Medford, or even over to Eastern Oregon at times for people that need transport over to the rehab over there.
Do we compete on, I remember years ago, when U-Trans used to do this, do we compete against other providers that do medical transportation as well? So when we used to do it, it was West Ambulance, but the ambulance company used to run it, Fire District 2 had one, there was a few of them in town.
Are we in competition with UCAN?
U-Can does it correctly,
cities.
yeah.
And then
Well,
there's
that's how I
Yes.
found out about it, was we didn't have any
Yes.
rights.
So Bay Cities actually approached us and asked us to, when we were going to start the process and that they were interested in us doing it. We had multiple drivers that were contacting us on like a weekly basis, asking when we were going to start the program. So when Bay Cities contacted us, we just completed the rest of the application and started moving the process forward. So, and we just,
We compete on like a mileage, like a mileage basis or something like that. And I'm just
Yes.
wondering, are all the providers providing it that month, or is it just really go to one provider based on a bid that you put in?
it goes on, so TransLink does it solely based on the lowest cost bid. Bay Cities does not do that. They do it on the performance of the provider. So what they had indicated is that they had a number of providers that were not completing the process correctly. So they're assigned a ride. That ride is supposed to get assigned to a driver. The driver is supposed to make it there on time, pick the person up and get them to their appointment on time. But apparently there is a challenge in the process with some of the providers, and they are not providing accurate information to their drivers. So their drivers are showing up after the appointment is already over. So they don't make it to their appointment. So that's why they approached us.
I think I need to mention one thing. I have 2 tenants who make a living providing medical transport, so I have not a clear conflict, but some interest in the issue.
They drive for UCAN?
I don't know who they work for, I never asked, but I know that that's what they do for a living. They had a
UCAN,
house from me for some years.
UCAN didn't have any riders for a couple of days. I was off.
Sometimes they get riders they don't need. The clients get put on quarantine or the tenants got put on quarantine for 14 days because somebody didn't tell them the passenger was positive.
The first time they put 3 people in my car. Wanted me to go to Canyonville, Riddle, and Myrtle Creek, take them to town, and then take them all back. And that was after the 13th.
Took you a whole day.
Yeah, well, it was 4 people breathing in a car, nobody wearing masks.
Why weren't they wearing masks?
Because they hadn't got a policy made yet.
Do we require people to wear masks as medical, if they can?
Is there any more discussion?
No, that's right.
I thought that's great.
The quarantine thing cost me money because I had to reduce their rent for the month.
Oh,
Well, that was
Mom.
nice of you.
It's a subject I have some interest in.
Then we go to board training, and Ron's not here, so we'll move that to the end of the agenda. General manager report?
Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna access that. Interesting. So I was able to forward the November general manager's report to Christine yesterday. So she did make copies of that. I can't access my network right now, so I can't get a copy of that up to be able to see what I reported to you. And I could not forward the one from December either. So what I can tell you is the highlights are, we went through the recruiting process for an operations manager. So we did the whole interview and decision-making process there. We did hire a new operations manager. His name is Darren Wilson, and I believe some of you may have gotten an email from him as he was trying to direct traffic into a chain of command. So let's see. We've started the STIF application process. We've put out the 5310 STF and 5311 grant applications to go through that process of getting those funds awarded and the applications submitted to ODOT. And I am so sorry, I have vacation brain.
We did the 5310 and the STF and STIF. Did you guys look at I know there was a reduction in STIF of what we were predicting to get even this time. So were any of those projects like carried over? Or, I mean, did we have to cut some from this, this period projects because the funding was reduced and then try to pick those up as a priority in the next one, or were we okay?
We're okay. So the beauty of being able to do all of these at once is that we can get the appropriate kind of funding into the appropriate projects. So the more I study this, the more I learn, I guess is really the only way to put it. So there are providers who provide both client only and dial-a-ride service. So either service okay, actually that's 5310, the federal funding. They only qualify for that funding if they're providing dial-a-ride service. But the amount that is provided to the provider for the dial-a-ride service is far greater than what is provided for the client only, which would stand to reason that that's logical, except for the number of rides that are provided by the client only are more than 10,000, sometimes 15,000 a quarter more than what's provided for dial-a-ride. So we need to take a look at how we're funding, with which funding source, and get it to the right
Grant.
Funding source?
to the appropriate levels for the type of funding. So the other thing that we put out was the RFP for dial-a-ride services, because we had talked about that as a district, we need to do that due to the size of the contracts that we're awarding. And so that is also in process at the same time. So the providers will be able to state, we've stated in the RFP that we want a specific kind of service. We want service to be available to all of our communities within our district. And we want that service to be able to be available as early as 7 a.m. and as late as 7 p.m. And that will help us with coordinating people being able to get back home and not getting stuck. So as providers turn in their response to the RFP, they'll be able to say, this is the area that I can cover, and these are the hours that I can cover, and these are the days that I can cover. And we'll be able to take that and mix it together to where we have a more extensive coverage that covers a greater number of hours and a greater number of communities. And so that will also be a deciding factor in how the funding is allocated.
So back on the I know we approved the budget, the financials already, but one of the things I noticed on there was, except for Reedsport, Sutherland, who's not operating, and Umpqua Homes or something, I think it was those three. I mean, if that's December, generally you'd be at around 50% of your budget, and they're all around 64, 70, 68%, somewhere in there. So they're over that, well over that 50%, unless I'm just wrong on that 50%. Maybe it's from a federal fiscal year. Well, that'd be worse.
Wait a minute though.
So anyway, so I just wonder, do we feel like we're okay in terms of continuing to fund the services for the year? We're not going to run out of cash
No.
for.
I don't think we're, let me restate that. We will not run out of cash because the 5310 funding that was originally allocated to the UCAN projects. So UCAN for the call center and UCAN for paratransit. At the Stiff Stack Committee, what we did is reallocated those funds to cover the call center, and then to make those funds available to dial-a-ride providers that might have overages. In addition, we got the 5310 grant for preventive maintenance. And so every provider can now take their preventive maintenance costs out of their operations costs, charge it to a separate grant, which then reduces their operations costs as well.
Which is a lot usually. It's a big chunk of it. Tires, oil.
Yeah. So I think we're still good.
Carol, this is
Yes.
Jennifer. So on that 5310 grant, we actually, we can't put it to the call center. We put it for mobility management.
Right.
Can't be, it has to be purchase service. It can't be operations. So we did that. I think we changed it from 85,000, which was the call center, to 15,000 mobility management, which allows your dispatchers to do some call, some training and different stuff for riders, coordination. And then the rest of it we put into that fund that is going to be a fund that is, and I think it's about 90,000, that will allow you to move it around to all of the rest of the providers as needed.
All right.
And you should be getting that signature.
Okay.
Who was just talking? I'm not seeing them on my screen.
Jennifer Boardman.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You missed me say my name, sorry. I'll say it louder next time.
Oh, we found your board report, the November board report. It just doesn't look normal. So if you,
Like, I
I
haven't
looked at
seen
this
it.
a million times.
I was even looking for it.
That was my same response this morning, like, oh, I like it.
well, yeah, it breaks things up really
I thought it
interesting.
was like an ad or something.
Right, right. But I actually read it and looked at. So you have here, collaborate with South Lane Wheels, Route Match, ODOT, and North Douglas Betterment to iron out kinks to prepare to roll out the Rural Veterans Health Transportation.
Up and running.
Yes, it's up and running as of Tuesday last week. And I do not know if they've had any riders yet, but it is the Rural Veterans Grant that South Lane Wheels asked us to apply for as the qualified entity, and we'll be passing the funding through to them. But it's a collaboration between them and the VA and Jennifer with NDB. And the intent is to provide public transit, not just for veterans, but for anybody that wants to board the vehicle. But it's kind of a hybrid because they actually have to call dispatch and schedule that ride onto the vehicle. And they could go to the VA in Eugene or the VA in Roseburg. It starts in Cottage Grove and it makes a stop in Drain and then goes on south to Roseburg, and then it goes back north and on up to Eugene. And I believe it does that Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yeah, and they stop in Cottage Grove and Sutherland as well.
Oh, Sutherland as well. Okay. I did not realize.
Yeah, there's about five stops a day at each city. But we haven't advertised it at all
Okay.
yet. Yeah, we're working on that piece.
Okay. Yeah, so we're excited to have that up and running, and we'll start doing that advertising it and driving riders to the program, and that way there's an opportunity for them to get continued funding at the end of this fiscal year.
It's also a hybrid, so it's part 5310, part 5311, which means it's demand response and fixed route mixed together.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
How do you keep track of that?
Yeah.
I keep track of the demand response.
Hmm.
So
And then
I'm the
just subtract
provider
it from the
taking
total
it.
hours then?
Yeah, they're keeping track of it in the call center also here,
Yes.
because all calls go through our call center,
Mhm.
even the Eugene. Everything goes through the call center here.
Start the insurance renewal process.
Oh, so actually Christine and I through November and December We went through that process with WHA, and we worked on Christine probably has it right on the tip of her tongue, but we did the vehicles and the liability insurance for the board, and those, I believe, were the two biggest ones. We got a 10% discount because we had gone through some training. Christine, can you remind me of which one I might be forgetting?
Regarding the insurances that we renew, property and casualty,
Oh, that's it.
and the liability, and the auto, I think it was property, liability, and workers'
Yes.
comp, isn't it?
And you interviewed and selected an operations manager. I'd like to hear more about that, especially after that interesting email.
So he's very gung-ho. He's got a lot of military and police background, and he is a CDL driver, so he's very familiar with that piece of the puzzle. And he is seeing his position as creating that space that allows me to be able to do my work more uninterrupted, and that therefore, it creates the ability for me to actually get things done on time in a timely manner on a regular basis, without having to work, 60 hours a week to get that to happen, so he is a little bit gung-ho, and we do have to rein him in. But I believe that he's going to be a really good fit for our organization.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to CC the board.
Well,
He
no,
didn't realize the email is all Umpqua transit, and he did not realize that the board was included in that distribution list. So that was amusing. I called John and let him know as soon as I saw it come through that we really were not having any major issues. This was just accidentally sent out to the board.
I personally thought the email was very threatening towards the employees, like really over the top. And I think that you absolutely need space, and he should create that space for you. But I think that there's instances in the workplace where you have to talk to your general manager. Let's say sexual harassment happened, and he is the one that sexually harassed someone. And then he's saying, don't you ever talk to her for any reason. If she's out in the hall, do not talk to her. She will talk to you. You can talk back to her. Is so inappropriate. He could have said it has to be, if you have a major issue, please contact Cheryl, but no communication for any reason whatsoever is.
Yeah, I think it's fine to talk in the hallway.
I know, right?
Well, and if there's something that needs to be brought to Cheryl's attention, say he did something inappropriate and someone wanted to report him and he's saying, no, don't talk to her. That just creates a really bad work environment, is all I'm saying.
I just thought it was a little brusque.
It sure fell.
It's like really
It was
military.
very threatening.
Sure fell out of the sky like a gift. And I think that we really need to.
Rein that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was very inappropriate.
Yeah, normally we wouldn't know anything about who you hired, but that was,
Quite the introduction.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so then it says award the RFP for audit.
We don't have to go.
Oh, so for our UPTD audit, we awarded that in November, but I believe it was at our November board meeting.
Okay, and it says providers were paid on time for the Q1 report invoices.
Yes,
For
I felt like that was a goal we've been striving for. I want to make sure that stays on the top of my list.
Quarter one.
Go ahead until you count your biennium. So.
Q1 for the fiscal year and Q5 for the biennium.
Yep.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. That was the general manager's report. ODOT update from Jennifer Boardman. You're on mute.
There we go. Can you?
Very good. Can hear you now.
Okay. So the update, we are working on currently the stiff discretionary application review. The acts have been, had the opportunity until January 31st to make comment on the applications, and that information will go to PTAC and OTC. Internally, ODOT staff are working on our reviews of the applications. There are 70 applications, $9.2 million and about 18.5 in ask. So we have about double the amount of ask as we have funding. So it's going to be a tight grant funding period.
Is that typical?
Last time we had more money than we had applications, but it was the first cycle. This is the second cycle, and people are kind of getting a better understanding of this program. And so we have a lot more people asking for a lot more money. And the other thing with this is that the stiff discretionary actually had to backfill the STF, which was reduced in the governor's budget. So that took out about, I think, $10 million, which could have been used for this program, but we had to backfill the STF program, which goes towards elder and disabled transit. We definitely, I can say after reviewing, I am on application number 51 right now. I would say that people need to take some grant writing classes in Oregon because they aren't answering the questions that are being asked. So anytime you get an opportunity to have your RTC read the applications, please do so. You know, when we ask questions such as why is this project needed to help with equity, and what does it do for low income? A lot of times we just got answers like, there's a lot of low income people in the state of Oregon and in our county. You have the access in Remix and a lot of other programs to get those numbers as to what the population of your low income is. And so I am going to be urging my boss to make sure that we get some people in some training, because these applications, woo, it's been a doozy. And let's see what else we have going on. Of course, everybody's in the middle of their STIF formula, which are due on February 1st. They have to have had 2 stiff stack meetings and then put those projects out to bid. Most people have done that and are in the process of getting ready to do their application. I definitely encourage everybody to get their application done early, because I don't know that they're going to offer extensions on the application. So make sure you get that in on time. Then in addition to that, this is definitely a busy grant cycle this year with all the grants that we have going. The 5310, as Cheryl said, and the STF, and then the 5304, which is the planning grant that we have, and then the 5311. And then I did just hear today at the PTAC meeting that there is additional funding that was passed for additional COVID-related funding. There's going to be about $2 million statewide for rurals. The majority of the funding that is coming to Oregon is going to be going directly to the 5307 recipients, such as RVTD, Salem, Lane, and TriMet. But there will be some that are coming to both to the tribes and to the rurals. In addition, there is going to be a small amount of 5310, And this is especially important for those agencies that don't have 5311 funding, that they've been able to tap into that CARES need grant. We had 18 CARES need grants come in at the end of the year. The application deadline was December 31st. We had about, let's see, $15 million left of the CARES need. And I think that we had only 9 million in ask. So those, the majority of those are going to be funded outright, other than there were a couple that came in that were not related to COVID. Somebody put in for $5 million to build a facility in order to have space. And it's like, well, that's a stretch. Because these are really for paying those, the funds for people to have hazard pay or buy masks or equipment to sanitize buses. So you guys put in an application for that, and I think it was about 70,000. And I don't see, nobody really had any big questions today when we met. And then next week we'll make the final determination on those funding. So that should be coming your way to use. And I believe that the funds have to be spent by June of 2022. Other than that, they're getting together a group of folks, and I don't know who all they're asking, but they're going to be having a group that's going to be getting together that's working on the combining of the STF and the STIF, which is going to happen next biennium, but we're trying to get that done early so that we're ready to go when the next cycle comes around. So I think that is it from ODOT. We really don't have very much going on as far as legislature and transit this year, which is a good thing because we have a lot going on with grant applications. So any questions for me?
Nope.
Sent out an email about a training. Could you go over that a little bit?
Yeah. There is a training that's offered through, it's actually a conference. It's going to be a virtual conference. I don't know, Cheryl, had you heard about it? It's through this special districts.
Yes.
It's like February 3rd through the 5th. And I believe that there's some opportunity for the board as well to do some training at that. And it is, I don't think that there's a cost for it, and it is virtual. So I definitely recommend. I sent out the link, and I believe I sent it to you too, Cheryl. It had the link to what kind of classes they're going to offer, and then also the registration link.
I filled it out and sent it
you.
in already.
And I sent it to John so he can distribute to you guys. And I believe I sent it to Cheryl.
Yes. I believe I sent it a couple of weeks back.
Any more discussion on ODOT update? Okay. Now we have not on the agenda. Does anybody have anything for not on the agenda?
Yeah,
Excellent.
back when we were moving in here last year, when it was dark this time of the day, I suggested we put reflectors along the driveway. I had trouble seeing coming in tonight, and so I think that's
Yeah,
probably $50 worth of effort.
maybe a street light down where the driveway opens up onto the sidewalk.
The light would be more expensive, but just some reflectors placed along the side of the driveway would make it a lot easier.
Yeah,
And they're pretty
it's hard to see.
Now, just run down to Dollar Tree, Cheryl.
So they can put your headlights on the
Solar
truck, so I can
lights.
see now.
Since we're gonna talk about being cheap,
I think Lowe's and Home Depot can provide them easily enough.
I'm sure that a street light wouldn't be that hard.
When you get old, you can't see in the dark. as well.
Yes, I know this. Anything
So-
else not on the agenda?
Yeah, so what was it, last month or November? There was an issue with the emails. I think everybody was brought into it. It just seems to be a weird fluke, apparently. So everybody needs to make sure from time to time you're checking your your deleted message folder for things in there that not only things that you haven't seen yet, but things that just randomly get deleted. So I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. We went through our IT people, they contacted Microsoft or whoever does Outlook. It just seems to be a weird fluke that's happening to us. Nobody knows why. So it's taken care of. It's to the best of its ability to be taken care of. But just want to make sure everybody remembers to maybe once a month or so, because your trash folder gets deleted. I believe it's every 30 days or something like that. So make sure you check it once in a while. There could be unseen or other types of emails in there that shouldn't be.
Then I was gonna suggest, if we could, on the date for the special meeting, could we have our executive session then on the 25th? Or is that not okay?
It's totally okay with me. I'll
Just
make
get it out of the way.
executive decision. since
It
I'm in
sounded
charge
like
now.
I was hoping we'd be able to do that, but Cheryl was just saying that this special session or special meeting might go into 2 days, possibly 3.
No. That would be the stiff stack meeting would be at least 1, possibly 2 meetings. And
Okay,
then they make a recommendation to the board for the board to approve.
okay.
Yeah, so it would just be the 1.
So I would support Jennifer's idea on that as well.
I'll make an executive order.
Is that, can she do that? I don't know.
I can.
We can do that, yeah.
Where's the bylaws?
Yeah, you can have an executive session.
We'll have an executive session at the special meeting.
Okay.
And should that meeting, I would assume, would run not quite as long as our regular board meeting, so it'd be nice to get that out of the way and not have a 50-hour meeting in February.
Agreed.
Is that a motion?
You made an executive decision.
Okay, all right.
Is that a thing?
You don't need to make a motion. that's
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just something for the agenda.
Okay.
Then we have the agenda. Oh,
Which
we
is what
have
you just
public
did.
comment,
Yeah.
limit to 10 minutes total, which I don't agree with. But does anybody out there want to take themselves off mute and public comment?
Kelly and Natasha.
And,
And
Oh, and
Roy, don't you have anything to say?
Nope.
no.
Get that kid in here and get off of mute and,
Well, we
okay.
can see you, Roy. You look great.
Yeah, you do. Look good.
Natasha said not at this time.
Okay.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the chat. Okay. Kelly?
I'm assuming not.
Okay. Then we do the agenda bill.
I'm good.
And anybody have any suggestions?
I think for the next meeting, since it's going to be the special meeting, we should probably just keep it to the agenda that will be with the stiff stack committee items, along with our executive session. And at that meeting, we can build for the February meeting.
Well, the February meeting, for the February meeting, the attorney, so just put that back on there with Ron and the training, the board training there.
Well, he should also be at our executive session. Did we talk
Yes,
about?
I believe Ron wanted
Maybe
to
that's
do
all
the
right.
training prior to the executive session.
Okay, so we'll do that.
We'll do that.
On the
Okay.
25th.
Well, I don't make the agenda, but I'm glad we're discussing it.
So he'll come and do the training before the executive session? Is that what you said,
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
All right.
I'm
And
glad we didn't need him to.
anybody have anything else to say? We're gonna get out of here.
I think
Is
you
there
did a good
anything?
job of chairing this meeting. Thank you for taking my spot.
You're welcome,
Less than an
John.
hour.
No, I have to go.
Yeah,
Good job,
perfect.
Pat. Thank you, Natasha and Kelly and Roy.
Enjoy your vacation, Cheryl. When you come
Yeah.
back.
Tomorrow we fly to San Jose tomorrow, and then we drive home the following day. So I'll be back on Thursday.
Sorry.
Is there,
Yeah.
is there a nice view out that window?
What?
I was just asking Cheryl if there was a nice view out that window.
Absolutely. You want to see?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Hold on.
And it's still
Oh
daylight.
my
That is so nice.
It looks
How come it's
beautiful.
daylight? Like I said,
How come it's daylight? Because,
There's a few hours.
Yeah, behind us, yeah.
Oh, well, have fun.
We're not jealous at all.
No.
So, this is the first real vacation I've been on in 14 years. So it's been pretty awesome.
We're expecting an inch and a half of rain tonight, tomorrow for that. Yep.
The plug I can put in for this, you guys, is the plane tickets were less than $100 a piece each direction. And there are super deals on lodging and all that kind of stuff over here. You have to COVID test before you and have a result before you can, they do an exemption for you once you get here if you have all your tests. Otherwise, you have to quarantine, which would be no fun.
what is that?
Look at you like that. I could just.
The people
Kat,
that
don't
are
forget to
here
adjourn.
they're starving, they're the folks that took us out on the catamaran today to go snorkeling. They said they went 7 months without one trip out on the water. So they need, the people to come in and vacation. So they're really, really good about the, the masks and all of that stuff over here. So if you have the opportunity to travel and help the commerce, it's a good idea.
Did I just hear we're doing our February meeting in Hawaii? Is that what I
I
just
would
heard?
love that.
Yeah. And so, John, I have to say, the meeting is adjourned. I can't just say we're out of here.
Adjournment.
meeting
Yeah.
adjourned.
All right, well, I will adjourn the meeting so we can get out of here.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That cute little kid helping his grandpa.
Yes.
Oh, every time I watch PBS in the news, I see somebody's cat on the sofa.
Yeah.
Okay.